We are going to run an inspection on this Pentax K1000 35mm SLR camera. Before listing it for sale, here we're going to look it over and check out the condition. This is one of the earlier ones that has the Asahi logo up here on the pentaprism housing and the Asahi name, and metal top and metal bottom. Later versions of these, some of them had those parts replaced with plastic, so it's nice to see an original one here. What I'm going to do is take the lens off for a moment, and we'll step down through the shutter speeds starting at 1/1000th of a second, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, 1/4, 1/2, and 1 full second. And we'll do that one more time. That's pretty smooth. Here we go. And then the bulb setting, where we can see now that the shutter is open as long as I hold the button down, and closes and the mirror returns. So the shutter speeds all seem to work on the camera. If we look inside, it looks reasonably clean. This foam is hard to tell. I don't want to touch it. Sometimes touching it makes it fall apart, but I can't really say what the condition of that is other than it looks pretty good. If we take the lens here for a moment and look at that, first thing I like to do is feel the focus. And on this one it's very smooth. That's very nice. Let me check the aperture ring. Nice clicks at all the stops. We leave it at the stop down position, and we can see the blades. And if we work the lever here, we can see they're very quick. So that's very good. Then we look at the quality of the optics, and there are a couple of spots. Now they're hard to see, but one right there and one right up above it, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that show up. Those are things that did not wipe off with a lens brush or a lens tissue, so they must be little marks in the coating, or maybe even tiny little chips. So I'm pointing those out that they're there. And then if we open this all the way up and we get a light behind it, and again I can see but you can't, but it does look like there's some internal very tiny particles, but quite a few of them. Maybe some kind of a little haze or something. I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference in the image that you'll get out of it. As you can see, you know, it's very clear looking, but there is some little bit of haze in there, and there are these little marks on the front. So I'm going to point those out. We'll mount the lens back on the body, and there we are. It comes with this lens cap that fits on the front, and it's tethered by this little strap so it can hang down and not get lost. If we look here on the top, I don't see any major dents. There's a little bit of wear here and there, but here's a little bit of wear, not too bad. The back, I see wear around the eye area here, and wear on these corners here and here on the end of the hinge, but that shouldn't affect the function at all. If we lift up on the film rewind knob, that opens up the back, and if we look back here, we can see the curtains moving and working. We can see the film transport right here working. And if we move over to the back here, I feel along the edge just a little bit of stickiness there. Little bit of stickiness along the edge. That's from light seal material. And this in here, there's some material here. Ideally that light seal material should be replaced. I don't think it's going to make the camera not work, but if you're going to use this camera for a long time, you'd want to have that done. The back closes nicely, It's got a nice metal rewind crank that's in good condition. It folds over. And this is a fully manual camera, so there isn't a lot of information or controls up here. It is simply set the ASA here and then let the meter work as you look through and adjust shutter speed and aperture to get this little meter needle right in the middle of a couple of marks to get optimum settings. I do see a little bit of out of round here on the edge of the shutter speed dial. I don't know why that is, but again, it doesn't seem to affect function. The ASA can be turned just fine, but just be aware that that's there. On the bottom, usual amount of scuffing, nothing too bad. So, all in all, it's a fairly good example of a used Pentax K1000. And thank you for watching, and take a look at the pictures also.